What's up guys, this is KD. As you may already know from the other video, I have just reached Plat 1 with Metaphys. To be honest with you though, the climb was unexpectedly fast. I went from Plat 5 to Plat 1 within 4 hours, and with a pretty great win rate as well. I really enjoyed the deck. Therefore, today I would like to show you how to play this deck optimally based on my experience. Before we start, I want to let you know that I want to make this guide very in-depth, and by that I mean I will give you guys tips for the combos and plays, not only in the combo section of the video, but also in the deck profile section. When I go through each card, I will put a lot of timestamps on this video, so please make sure you take advantage of them. First, let's go over the core of the deck. We play 2 copies of Decoy Dragon. It is a pendulum monster, and both of the monster effect and pendulum effect are pretty similar. When one of your monster is attacked, you can banish this card and special summon another Metaphys monster, either from your banish pile or from your grave. Also, during the standby phase of the next turn after this card was banished, you can special summon this card. The effects look similar at first glance, but there are actually 2 big differences. First, if you use your Decoy Dragon as a scale, you cannot proc the effect of Daedalus, Nephthys, or Tyrant when you special summon them, because they were not special summoned by the effect of a Metaphys monster. You can only proc the effect of Ragnarok if you special summon it this way. Second, you can only use Decoy effect if your opponent attack your monster. So, if you have Decoy as a scale but have no monster on the field, your opponent can literally just ignore it. Therefore, you should never ever use your Decoy Dragon as a scale. Now here is a small tip. The attack value of Decoy is small, so if possible, you should try to summon Decoy in defense at any time by special summoning it from the banish pile. This will help you play around Lightning Storm and take less battle damage if your opponent somehow managed to negate Decoy. There is one last thing I want to mention. There are 5 different ways to summon a high-level Metaphys monster. You can use either Decoy Dragon effect, Ragnarok effect, Tyrant Dragon's effect, Factors effect, or Dimensions effect to do so. However, unlike the other 4, if you use Decoy Dragon effect, the monster you special summon will not get banished during the end phase of the next turn. This will rarely cause you any problem, but it is still something you should keep in mind. We play 3 copies of Ragnarok. If you normal or special summon it, you can banish the top 3 cards of your deck, and for each Metaphys card banished this way, it gains 300 attack, so Ragnarok can potentially get up to 2400 attack. Also, if you successfully deal battle damage to your opponent, you can special summon a level 5 or higher Metaphys monster from the deck. It should be obvious that the second effect is a great removal effect. For example, you can choose to summon Nephthys in order to get rid of all face down back row on the field. This happens during the damage step, so it is unlikely that your opponent can actually stop that. However, what I want to talk about is the first effect of Ragnarok. Unlike the other high-level Metaphys monsters, which only gain effects if you summon them using another Metaphys monster's effect, Ragnarok can proc its effect when summoned by any means. This gives you one way to disrupt your opponent on their turn with the help of Dimension. Assuming that you have a face-up Dimension on the field and a banished Ragnarok, first, you wait until your opponent special summon a monster. That will trigger Dimension to summon Ragnarok. Then, you activate Ragnarok effect to banish your top 3 cards. Finally, if you successfully banish at least one Metaphys card, it will trigger Dimension again to banish one of your opponent's cards. We play 3 copies of Daedalus. If this card is special summoned by the effect of a Metaphys monster, you can banish all other face-up special summon monsters on the field. This effect is not once per turn, and it doesn't target. Also, if this card is banished, then during the next standby phase, you can shuffle this card back to the deck as cost and banish any Metaphys card except Daedalus. This is how you prepare your follow-up. I play 3 copies because usually I want to keep at least 1 copy of this card in the banish pile. I want to be ready to special summon it using Decoy if my opponent attack my monster. We play 3 copies of Nephthys. If this card is special summoned by the effect of a Metaphys monster, you can banish all set background on the field. And if this card is banished, then during the next standby phase, you can shuffle this card back to the deck as cost and add any Metaphys card to the hand, except Nephthys. This is your searcher, and I like playing 3 copies. You can play 2 copies if you want to though. We play 2 copies of Tyrant Dragon. If this card is special summoned by the effect of a Metaphys monster, it is unaffected by trap effects, and it can attack twice if you attack a monster. Then, if this card is banished, on the next standby phase, you can shuffle this card back to the deck as cost and special summon another Metaphys monster from your hand. This is supposed to be your biggest attack Metaphys monster. However, I found it very rare that I would ever summon it, and most of the time I just use Tyrant effect to summon something else. We play 1 copy of the field spell Metaphys Factor. In case you break your hand, this will allow you to normal summon a high-level Metaphys monster without tributing. And then, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects in response to your Metaphys monster effect activations. So, if you play against Drytron, for example, they will not be able to use Ultimateness to negate your Daedalus banish effect. This does not help you play around continuous effects such as skill drain though. We play 3 copies of the continuous spell Asymmetaphys. You can banish 1 Metaphys card from your hand, and if you do, draw 1 card. This effect is solved once per turn, and this is how you unbrick your hand. Also, if you are able to banish a Metaphys card, a secondary effect is applied depending on whose turn it is. If it is your turn, all monsters on the field lose 500 attack and defense, except Metaphys monsters. This effect is permanent and it stacks. If it is the opponent's turn, change the battle positions of all monsters on the field, except Metaphys monsters. This effect is not really relevant, since link monsters cannot change battle positions. For example, we play 3 copies of Ascension. This trap is essentially your searcher, and it is insanely good. This trap is a hack once per turn. Also, it has 2 effects, but you can only use 1 of them per turn. For the effect on the field, you can discard 1 Metaphys card, draw 1 card, then banish 1 Metaphys monster from the deck. If you have something like Dimension Fissure or Macrocosmos on the field, the discard effect also becomes a banish effect if you discard a monster. For the second effect, if Ascension is banished, you can add any Metaphys card to the hand, except Ascension. It is worth noting that this is the only way for you to add Nephthys to the hand, which will come up later in our combos. Finally, we play 2 copies of Dimension. If your opponent special summon a monster, you can special summon a banished Metaphys monster. And if one of your Metaphys cards is banished while Dimension is already face up on the field, you can banish one of your opponent's cards on the field. Most people only play 1 copy of this card, since it is not a starter or a play extender. However, I like playing 2 copies, since this card is the only thing that can disrupt your opponent, which I will show you later in the combo section. In the extra deck, we have Metaphys Horus, a level 6 synchro. If this card is synchro summoned, you can activate the appropriate effect depending on the non-tuner monster used as material. The only way to summon this card in this deck is with Decoy Dragon and Ragnarok. And since Decoy is a pendulum monster, you will gain the last effect, which lets you control one of your opponent's monster. This effect is pretty nice. However, Decoy will go to the extra deck and stuck there unless you already have a face-up Dimension Fissure or Microcosmos on the field, so keep that in mind. That's it for the core, so now let's go over our tech. First, we have 3 copies of Necroface. This card is disgusting, and I am not even talking about the art. If this card is banished, both players banish 5 cards from the top of the deck. This effect is not once per turn, so if you manage to banish multiple copies of this card, there is a good chance you get rid of core cards from your opponent's deck, and then they may just lose their will to fight and take the L. Besides that, this is obviously a good way to set up your banish pile with a bunch of Metaphys monsters. Also, if this card is normal summon, it will shuffle all banished cards to their respective decks, and this card gains 100 attack for each card recycled this way. I think this is only something you should do mid or late game if you feel you can push for lethal. We play 3 copies of Aloof Lupin. When this card is normal summoned, you can banish one monster from your hand as cost, then banish another monster with the same type as that monster from your deck. Also, if Lupin is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can add one of your banished monsters to your hand. The typical play with Lupin is you banish 2 Metaphys monsters, one from hand and one from deck, and then follow up from there. However, if you happen to have a Necroface in your hand, it is much better to banish 2 Necroface. We play 3 copies of Dimension Shifter. If there is no cards in your grave, you can discard this card as a quick effect. Then, until the end of the next turn, anything sent to the grave is banished instead. 99% of the time, you will only be able to activate this card at most one time each duel. However, we play 3 copies to increase our chance of opening it, because it is literally our chance to stay alive if we go second. Your opponent won't be able to do much, and if they overcommit, they will end up having a mediocre board without having any follow-up. We play 2 copies of Left Arm Offering. By banishing our entire hand, we can add any spell from the deck, and we cannot set spell or traps during the turn we activate this card. Usually, we play this card to search for gold Sarc. If we already have gold Sarc though, we can go for other options. Personally, I like searching for Dimension Fissure so that I can control the ball. We play 1 copy of gold Sarc. Most of the time, you want to banish Necroface so that your deck can get going. However, if you already have another way to banish Necroface, I would recommend you banish something like an Ascension so that you can search for a Metaphys card that you can make plays with, such as Ragnarok. We play 2 copies of Dimension Fissure and 2 copies of Macro's Cosmos. These 2 cards need no introduction. We want as many of our cards banished as possible, and we want to stop our opponents from playing the game as much as possible. Finally, we play 2 Crossout Designator. You can banish 1 card from your deck, then negate the effects of any cards with the same name until the end of this turn. This works well with Metaphys because your banished Metaphys monsters don't activate their effects until the next standby phase anyway. You can pretty much consider Crossout Designator the extra copies of gold Sarc. As for the extra deck, I decided to craft 1 copy of Knightmare Phoenix, since this build doesn't really have any way to outface up back row except for Metaphys Dimension. And that is pretty much the deck I used to reach Plat 1 this season. I was out of SR and URCP, so I did not improve my extra deck any further and just put whatever I had there. So feel free to add whatever you think is helpful to your extra deck. Now, I would like to talk about the combos you can make during the standby phase. But before that, you need to know about the order of activations of the Metaphys monster. In Master Duel, Metaphys monster will activate their effects in the banished pile in a very specific order. Daedalus, to Nephthys, to Tyrant Dragon, and then to Decoy Dragon. If you use the Daedalus effect to banish an Ascension, then Ascension effect will activate before Nephthys. There are multiple combos you can do with your banished monsters, so I will discuss a few basic ones. First, we have Decoy Dragon and Daedalus. For this combination, what you want to do is keep Daedalus banished and special summon Decoy in defense. This is the absolute minimum protection you should try to have at any time. Next, we have Nephthys and Tyrant Dragon. You can use Nephthys to add 1 Metaphys monster to the hand, then immediately summon that monster with Tyrant Dragon's effect. For example, if you want to get rid of opponent's monsters, summon Daedalus. Note that Nephthys cannot search for Nephthys, so you cannot banish face down back row with this combo. Now we have the Daedalus plus Tyrant Dragon combo, which is a much more flexible combo than the previous one. What you want to do is banish an Ascension, so that Ascension can search for any Metaphys card. Then, if you search for a monster, you can use Tyrant Dragon effect to summon it. As you can see, not only this combo can do pretty much anything the Nephthys plus Tyrant Dragon combo can do, it can also allow you to search and summon Nephthys. Unless you already have a Nephthys in the hand, this is the only way to special summon Nephthys. Now, let's talk about the only combo that can disrupt your opponent's turn, the combo with Metaphys Dimension. On their turn, if you see anything you want to immediately get rid of, you need to banish one of your Metaphys cards, then trigger Dimension's effect to banish your opponent's card. For this build, There are 3 ways for you to banish one of your Metaphys cards on your opponent's turn. You can use Ascension's on-field effect, which banish one Metaphys card from your deck. You can use Crossout Designator and choose to banish a Metaphys card from your deck. Or you can use Ragnarok's effect to banish the top 3 cards from your deck. The last option is not reliable because 1. You can only use Dimensions effect to special summon a banished Ragnarok if your opponent special summon a monster, and 2. You need to successfully banish at least one Metaphys card. Alright, I think this pretty much covers everything you need to know about this deck. Overall, this deck is really fun to play. I don't think the deck is that great, it's just really good at destroying plays your opponent can make. In general, it does not really matter what you play against. The real question is, can you stop them from making any play? If you go first, you may be able to do so if you open Shifter, Fissure, Cosmos, or if you can banish Necroface. If you go second and don't open any Dimension Shifter though, you're probably just gonna lose against any meta deck simply because you don't have the ability to play through multiple disruptions. That's it for this video. Hopefully it was helpful to you guys. This is my first Yu-Gi-Oh guide, so if you have any feedback, please let me know what you think in a comment. Also, if you like the video, please consider subscribing to the channel for more MasterKD content. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time.